Welcome back to the Pacific Northwest. I'm Tobin, out for a hike today along the McKenzie riverbank. I won't be shaving from the McKenzie River. I've actually come inland just a little bit. Found myself a nice little spot nestled in the woods. And I'll be doing a review of Master Soap Creations Frosted Lavender. I've had the opportunity to shave with this a handful of times, probably 7 or more, at least 6. I'm digging it. At the end of the video, you'll find my B-roll, and in that I will show you my setup of today's shave location. Howdy. So today, I have my mirror directly in front of me. A little bit of experimenting going on, the way I have it set up, and also the mode that I'm using on the camera. Hoping this all works out. Master Soap Creations Frosted Lavender. I'm a scooper, and hopefully you can see all the scooping I've been doing. I've had this for almost a couple of weeks, probably a couple of weeks actually. Tried to do a shave with it last weekend. Talk about that in a second. I'm using 2 Rockwell razors, the 6S and the 6C, and in both of those I have a Gillette Menorah. First use in both of them, and I did my scooping today with my Deadpool guitar pick. And I will finish that off with my matching splash. Oh poo, give me 2 seconds. That was about 2 seconds, right? Everything I'm using today is available at the wet shaving store. However, the only thing I bought from the wet shaving store is the brush, and that is the Simpson Trafalgar T2. And he does have this in stock, or at least he did earlier today before I left the house. As you'll see in the B-roll, I'll be whipping that up in my wet shaving store bowl. I got 2 of these from Andy back when they came out. That's a whole different story. They're currently not available. They're going through a redesign. The 2 razors I've had for a long time. I got them elsewhere, but he does have the Rockwell 6S and the Rockwell 6C in stock. I've talked about this before. Back when Rockwell first started making their razors, I thought that the whole idea was kind of gimmicky and was turned off by the idea of changing the plates, and I just didn't really buy into it. Like I said before, I thought it was a bit of a gimmick in that it wasn't a razor that I would purchase. After months of reviews and everybody instantly falling in love with this razor. I mean, this razor, it was super popular when it first came out, as it still is. So eventually I went around and I went cheap and I bought the 6C, the gunmetal. I'll be using that here in a second. And I fell in love with it. For the longest, I started out with plate 3, and then I moved up to plate 5, and I stuck with plate 5 for the longest time. I now use nothing but plate 4. It's not the kind of razor that you'd want to adjust on the fly. I hear people complain about not being able to adjust it that easily while shaving. Out of all my adjustable razors, there's none that I have a habit of changing the setting once I start. I know a lot of guys, they like to start out with a higher setting and then move down, or they'll start out with a lower setting and then move up. And that works for a lot of guys, and of course that's great, right? Your mileage may vary, but I haven't done anything like that in years. So for me, the idea of changing plates is not cumbersome. It's not an issue for me, I throw a blade on plate 4 and I just run with it. After only a few months, well, no, yeah, instantly I wish I had bought the 6S because I immediately loved the Rockwell. It took me about a year though before I actually justified spending the money on the 6S. I've heard lots of discussion about the shave that the two razors provide. I believe the two razors provide an identical shave. The side-by-side comparison that I'm doing today, already the menthol in this frosted lavender is kicking in real quick. The scent profile with this frosted lavender, super simple. Straight up lavender, beautiful lavender with menthol. And I'm already, especially out here in this cold air, it's about 45 degrees. I can feel it, and it feels great. I'd say when it comes to menthol kicks, if it's a 5, maybe a 6 with menthol strength. The soap. Comparing it to other mentholated soaps. Oh, and the lather from Master Soap Creations is fabulous. Talk about that more in a minute. I have both of them soaking in my red wet shaving store bowl. You can see the steam maybe coming off the water there. I'll be using this once I get going just for rinsing the razors. The only thing I can say about the 6C, especially if you get the gunmetal, but I think it looks cool, and I'll try and remember to include some photos. You can see how the gunmetal coloring kind of wears off, but I think it gives it this rustic look to it. I love these menorah blades. The menorah blades are also available at the wet shaving store. I did not buy them from the wet shaving store. This video is sponsored by the wet shaving store. All that really means is that I didn't pay for the soap or the splash. I received a soap and splash for review. Everything else in this video I have purchased. And like I said, I purchased the brush from Andy at the wet shaving store, but I did not buy the blades or the razors from Andy, although they're available there, and that's why I chose to use a Rockwell today. I haven't used them in a while, and I thought that this was a perfect idea. I've heard people talk about how, this isn't a polished stainless steel, so it's what a lot of people would call a matte finish, and that the matte isn't as smooth as the chrome. For me, I don't know that I agree with that. First of all, especially if you're using a tier 1 soap base like I am today with Master Soap Creations. There's enough slickness that it should never be an issue. The second, sorry about that. Let's try this again. I now have 56 minutes. I ran out of space. Like I said, I was playing with different modes, blah, blah, blah. Before the camera died on me due to storage, I was talking about the finish of the two razors. I believe I was starting to talk about if you hold them a certain way, that you shouldn't be getting a whole lot of contact of that top plate meeting your skin. Even if I was to hold the razor, flat against my face with a tier 1 soap, I think you should still get enough slickness and glide that it would never factor in. For me, the material that the razor is made out of doesn't really personally assist me with glide or smoothness of the razor going over the skin, and that's because I think the way I hold the razor, I got the shirt the other day, I love it. My newest shirt for my collection. The way that I hold the razor, most of the contact is simply the blade. And so I believe the biggest part of the blade, the biggest part of the razor that's touching my skin would be the bottom of that safety bar, or the top of the safety bar, however you want to look at it, and then the blade of the razor. So very little of the top cap is touching my face. Biggest difference for me is the weight, the way that it feels in my hand. Other than that, now the 6C is made out of Zamac, so it's not going to last as long as the stainless steel. The stainless steel razor should outlive me. The Zamac will eventually break, but I believe that if you take care of your 6C, that the 6C, especially if you have multiple razors, will last you the rest of your lifetime. I love the look of the gunmetal. I love the feel and the weight of the stainless steel. There is a difference with the knurling, and I believe that has to do a lot with, one, the Zamac versus the stainless steel, but two, just the way that is plated, right? That it's not slippery. The 6C is not slippery, but it has more of a less aggressive, I guess would be the right word or term, less aggressive grip, but it's still very grippy. I'm not saying that it isn't. I love both razors. If I was going to advise anyone on buying one, I'd first say, if you don't want to spend a lot for whatever reason, because you don't have it or whatever, buy the 6C. That's what I did, and it was just because, like I said, I was skeptical of the razor. But it's so nice having all these different plates, because if I want a mild shave, I can get one. And if I want an aggressive shave, I can get one. The 6 is super, super aggressive. The residual slickness of this Master Soap Creations base doesn't get any better. It's slicker than slick. So let's talk about the soap. Like I was saying, the bowl is currently going through a redesign. That's a topic for another day. But everything else that I'm using is available at the wet shaving store. And I'll put the prices, like you already saw. Shut up, Toby. You saw the prices of the razors. But if I didn't, and I forget because I'm a stooge, the stainless steel is about double the price of the 6C. The lather from this base of Master Soap Creations is out of this world. All these products, though, are available at the wet shaving store. They ship internationally, so just about anywhere and everywhere that you live, they will ship to you. If you ever have any questions about that, if you live out in Timbuktu, you can send them a message, and they are very, very responsive on Instagram, and that is how I would recommend contacting them. And I'll have links to the website and their Instagram in the description. When it comes to customer service, though, there's equals, but there's nobody who does customer service better than the wet shaving store. There really isn't. I'm not just saying that. Like I said, this is technically a sponsored video, but I'm not getting paid to say this. There's no money involved at all in the sponsored video. I received the soap and splash for free. And if you know me, that's not enough to influence my opinion. I'll put the soap base right up here so that you can look at it. Master Soap Creations is out of South Africa. So this is handmade in South Africa by a fellow, Fernando. I have never had the opportunity to speak with Fernando until a couple of weeks ago when Andy sent me this soap set. I had never tried Master Soap Creations. And that just again goes back to there's so many companies out there today for us to choose from that there's been several on my radar, especially going back to that one, it's the one with the race car on it. I'll put it right up there. Ever since Sieg Solo reviewed that one, I've had my eye on Master Soap Creations. Since receiving this, I've already purchased my own money my second set of Master Soap Creations, and people walking by, and that was Allura that was just released this past week. I haven't had a chance to shave with it yet because I've been busy shaving with other things I'm doing reviews for, including this one, Howdy, and so I haven't had a chance to actually use it yet, but the fragrance off the tub is amazing. Crisp, clean, watery. Is that a term? Is that an adjective? Woody and spicy in the middle. I can't wait to explore that fragrance more. Should have seen the looks I got. It was a couple and like a child or two. I don't know if you guys were able to see them when they walked by. I don't think so because the trail goes that way. I seriously wish, what I need to do is like set up some kind of camera that faces where I expect people to come from. Just so we can all see their faces better. Because I try not to stare as they walk by, even though they're staring at me. What was I saying? The splash, killer post-shave feel. The menthol in this frosted lavender. In the description on the sales page, it says a kick of menthol. It's definitely a kick of menthol. The first time I used it, I didn't expect it to be all that much of a kick. And with the splash, if 5 is average for a splash, and like a 10 is menthol to the core, like, you know, snake bite would be like a 10 when it comes to splashes. This would be a 6. I think it's, you know, they've done a really good job of mentholating the soap and the splash without overdoing it. I enjoy menthol. I'm not a menth head, you know, I'm not like all about the menthol. There's some guys that absolutely love menthol. I enjoy menthol, but I'm not super crazy about it, you know what I mean? It doesn't influence my purchase, is what I think that might be an appropriate way of saying it. I lathered my whole face and I shouldn't have. I'm just doing cleanups. But what the hell? Let's just do a quick 4th pass. This is what I was meaning to shave. I have trouble spots right here along my jawline. Just clean that down real quick. The Rockwell is amazing. Even if I use plate 6, it's super hard for me to cut myself with it. And I just got some whiskers. Maybe going a little too fast there and got some in my beard. I tend to have the biggest problem right here. Left and right side, but right side seems to be a little hairier. Is that possible? If it's possible, it certainly is. Give me a second. I'll pause it and wipe down. All right, wipe down well enough. I believe I was talking a little bit about Allura. Put a picture of that right there. That is the newest fragrance from Master Soap Creations, and it's their first collaboration with the Wet Shaving Store, available only at the Wet Shaving Store. And I hope to do a review of it, an outdoor review of it next weekend. I love the artwork that's on it and the colors, the whole 9 yards. The post-shave feel with the soap. The soap is a 6-ounce tub. You get a lot of soap. The bottle is like 3.5 ounces of the splash. But like most of our modern splashes, a little goes a super long way. And like I believe I was starting to say, or maybe did say, that first time that I used this splash, I went a little too heavy on it or with it. And this ginger, his eyes actually watered up, and I haven't done that in a while. Just a little teeny drop, just a dab. A dab will do you. The little bridal cream logo slogan. Fantastic natural lavender fragrance. If you like lavender, I can't recommend it enough. I want to try their bay rum. Glenn Sherman has said great things about it. And I don't have any mentholated bay rums. I put the cap in my pocket. I'm finding candy. I'm not finding my lid. Is that behind me? No, put it in my pocket. Well, let's see what Tobin has in his pockets today. Candy, candy, candy. You know, you got to bring survival stuff with you. What the hell? I'm a stooge. You know that. My mom knows that. My wife knows that. I put it in my pocket. Put it in my left pocket. And not my right pocket. So anyways, I cannot recommend this fragrance. But if you don't like lavender, you get 6 ounces of soap. The base is killer. It really, really is. I think if I recall correctly, this is a new base. I don't know if it's their version 2 or what it is. And I was also starting to say too that they're out of South Africa. And the artisan is Fernando. I haven't talked with Fernando. I don't know Fernando. But I couldn't be happier with this base. So much so that, like I said, I immediately bought within, a week or so of receiving my first set. For free. I didn't pay for frosted lavender. I purchased Allura, and it smells damn good. Amazing post-shave feel. I can't say enough good things about Andy Amaya, the owner of the Wet Shaving Store, and the way that he conducts himself in his business. And I highly recommend, if lavender's not your thing, I highly recommend checking out Master Soap Creations. The links below are not affiliate links. I will not profit in any way from your purchase of anything from the Wet Shaving Store or from anyone else. With that, it's the little big things. Remember, it's only shaving. When you're on your deathbed, it's the little big things that matter. It's almost Valentine's Day. Don't forget to get that special someone in your life at least a card. Get them frosted lavender. Y'all take care. Thank you for joining me. It felt so good to be out here today. And if you're still watching, I genuinely appreciate you. And I appreciate you joining me out here. Not far from the McKinsey. It's just right there. Y'all take care. Welcome to the B-roll. All the photos that you saw had my gear set up alongside here. Hot water in my green Oregon duck thermos. My bougie water bottle. About to leave my blades over here. my cold water bottle, my towel. This tree at some point couldn't hold any longer. It looks like it definitely had some health problems. Hold with me while I zoom. You can see the majority of the tree, and then it's been here so long that most of it is just swallowed up by the ivy and the thorn bushes. Over here behind me, I have my stool that I use as my table. The 2 bowls I'm using today are both from the wet shaving store. One for building my lather and the other for rinsing my razors. And I am using the Rockwell stainless, or you just saw me use the stainless and the chrome. My soap and splash and my Deadpool soap scoop, and I used 2 first use menorah blades. I had my mirror hung here. I record all this before I actually do my shave, so you're seeing this after, but I'm recording it before. And then I have my tripod right there in the tree.